So, when I was 23, I was dating my best guy friend in the whole world. We were friends for a year and a half before we started dating. Things shifted gears. You can get out of the friend zone. And about 2 months into being romantic, he and I were cuddling. It was like a Tuesday afternoon. He was Big Spoon, I was Little Spoon. He starts kissing the back of my neck, and I'm like, you know, like it's time, right? So, but we didn't have a condom. And I had been tested just 2 weeks before we even started dating. I got comprehensive sex ed in high school, and so I knew my risk factors. I was using protection. Even though I was using protection, I was getting tested regularly anyways. I was actually the girl who would bring my friends in to get tested with me, like drag people along with me to get tested. And so I knew I was okay. I asked him when he was tested. He said, oh, it's been a while, but Brittany and Ashley are both tested, and they're both totally fine. And I knew both of those girls because I had known him for so long. And he made it seem like those were the last two people he had slept with. So I trusted him, and I loved him. And honestly, I was just horny. I was a horny 23-year-old. So we stopped using protection. After that first time of having unprotected sex, we both were kind of like, well, something happened, it happened, right? If one of us has something now, we both have it, yay. So 6 months goes by of unprotected sex, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, that wasn't the smartest decision, I knew better, we should have gone and gotten tested. And so I took him in with me to Planned Parenthood. I didn't have any symptoms, I just knew that I had made that silly decision. So we go to Planned Parenthood. It was October 25th, 2010. We both tested positive for HIV. And I remember taking the elevator downstairs and walking toward the car, and I looked at him and I was like, who were you sleeping with? There's no question to me how I got this. What about you? Like, who have you been sleeping with? How did this happen? How did this come into our lives? And he was like, I don't know. And honestly, in that moment, I decided that it didn't matter. I knew that my sexual health is my personal responsibility. I knew that I had made the decision to have unprotected sex without getting tested first. So I took my personal responsibility and I just moved forward. Honestly, I was just happy to have him with me. He was my partner in crime. I was ready to spend the rest of my life with him. And so we just decided to move forward and get through this together. And we drove home in silence, and I remember parking on the side of the street. I remember this is October in LA, so it's like really hot and super dry, and we're just sitting in a car with the windows rolled down. And I looked over at him in the passenger seat, and he looked petrified. He was scared. And I don't know what happened, but something inside of me flipped. Something turned on, some kind of switch inside me, and I looked at him and I was like, no. We're gonna go in there and we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna research, we're gonna learn what this is, what this does, how to take care of ourselves. Like, I turned into Coach Kelly. It was crazy. I was like, no, we're gonna go in there and we're gonna beat this. We're gonna do this. We're not gonna let this take over our lives. And he was like, okay. And HIV is kind of like a loss, so you go through all kinds of emotions. And I think I might have switched into denial for a second because I was like, yo, look at Magic Johnson. He's cured, right? Like Magic Johnson is cured. We're going to be just like Magic Johnson. 1 year, we're going to be HIV negative. Just watch. It's going to be 1 year, we're going to be HIV negative. And so I go into the apartment, I pull out my laptop, and I type into Google, is Magic Johnson cured of HIV? Just to make sure. And every website says no. Magic Johnson is not cured of HIV. He takes medication just like the rest of us. I think that was an interview actually with him saying that, like, no, y'all are out of your mind. I take medication just like everybody else. And that's when my stomach dropped to my feet and the devastation hit. that I was actually going to have to deal with this. And my boyfriend and I took the curtains off of our windows so that we didn't have to wake up in darkness the next day. So the next day we woke up with the sun. And it's been a lot of ups and downs. But through everything, I reach back to that moment, that Coach Kelly moment, and I draw strength. I didn't know who I was until that moment. So whenever I'm down, I look back at that Coach Kelly moment, and I draw strength from it. And part of my coping was talking to my friends about what I was going through. I would share my diagnosis, and my friends would actually go and get tested. It happened over and over and over again. I would get a text saying, "Kelly, thank you so much for telling me what you're going through. I went and got tested, and I wouldn't have done that if it weren't for you." And I realized, oh my gosh, this is really important. People aren't educated about this. So I started seeking opportunities to share my story. And that's where I found the blessing in disguise and the silver lining for myself. This thing that was so traumatizing and so difficult for me, I can now actually do something good in the world. I also got on medication. I take 1 pill a day, every day. The virus in my body is suppressed to the point where it's undetectable, which means that it's not affecting my immune system, and I'm also not contagious. So when you're on medication and you take it as prescribed, you can't pass the virus to your sexual partners. My doctor says I'm going to live into my 80s, given that I don't get hit by a car or something crazy like that. So I live a very normal life. It's actually not that bad. The hardest part of HIV is the stigma. And I don't wish this upon anybody. That's why I share my story. It's not fun, but it's also not that big of a deal. Remember to protect yourself. Get tested often. Have open communication with your partners. Rewinding back to that part in my story where I talked about my partner and I, after the first time having unprotected sex, thinking that if something happened, it happened, right? But in actuality, we could have gone back to using protection. It's very possible that after that first time of having unprotected sex that I didn't contract HIV. It's the 6 months of unprotected sex and having repeated exposures to the virus when I probably contracted HIV. So if you and your partner decide to not use protection one time, you can go back to using protection again and still protect yourself. Because just because you're exposed to HIV doesn't mean you necessarily contracted it. So I want to impress upon you, get tested regularly, have open communication with your partners. But if something happens, if you make a mistake, if the condom breaks, if it slips off, if you forget, all STIs are treatable and many are curable. So it's not the end of the world. You can live a happy, healthy, normal life with HIV. And protect yourself, get tested regularly, love yourself, communicate, and have great, happy, healthy sex lives.